खुदा में रज़वी हो।
मुर्तदा शेर हक अशजाउल अशजाइन, मुर्तदा शेर हक अशजाउल अशजाइन, साकिए शीर व शरबत पे लाखों सलाम। असले नस्ले सफ़ा वजह वस्ले खुदा, असले नस्ले सफ़ा वजह वस्ले खुदा, बाब फ़स्ले विलायत पे लाखों सलाम, बाब फ़स्ले विलायत पे लाखों सलाम। अव्वली दाफ़े अहले रफ़्द व खुरूज, अव्वली दाफ़े अहले रफ़्द व खुरूज, चारुमी रुकन मिल्लत पे लाखों सलाम। शेर शमशीर ज़न, शेर शमशीर ज़न, शाह खैबर शिकन, शेर शमशीर ज़न, शाह खैबर शिकन, परतवे दस्ते कुदरत पे लाखों सलाम। उस बतूले जिगर पाराए मुस्तफ़ा, उस बतूले जिगर पाराए मुस्तफ़ा, हजला आराए इफ़अत पे लाखों सलाम। जिसके आँचल न देखा महो महर ने, जिसका आँचल न देखा महो महर ने, उस रिदाए नज़ाहत पे लाखों सलाम। सैयदा ज़ाहिरा तैयबा ताहिरा, सैयदा ज़ाहिरा तैयबा ताहिरा, जान अहमद की राहत पे लाखों सलाम, यानी खातून जन्नत पे लाखों सलाम। मुर्तदा द लाइन ऑफ ट्रुथ, the bravest in the bravest congregation. Murtada, the lion of truth, the bravest in the bravest congregation. Upon the cupbearer of milk and the sweet drink, millions of salutations. The source of the pure lineage to Allah, our means of connection. Upon the gateway to the garden of sainthood, millions of salutations. The first to repel the deviant Rafidi and the Khariji mission. The first to repel the deviant Razvi and the Khariji mission. Upon the fourth pillar of our religious society, millions of salutations. The lion with the striking sword, the conqueror of the Khaybar station. The lion with the striking sword, the conqueror of the Khaybar station. Upon the manifestation of Allah's divine power, millions of salutations. A piece of Mustafa's heart, Batul, the epitome of devotion. A piece of Mustafa's heart, Batul Fatima, the epitome of devotion. Upon the veiled canopy adorning chastity, millions of salutations. The one whose outer veil was never seen by the sun and the moon's vision. The one whose outer veil was never seen by the sun and the moon's vision. Upon that mantle of spotless purity, millions of salutations. The pure princess, the radiant bud, the chaste, the epitome of ablution. Upon the tranquility of the heart of Nabi Ahmad, millions of salutations. These words of Sayyidi Ala Hazrat, Imam Ahl Sunnat, Shah Imam Muhammad Raza Khan Fazil Bareilly, radiyallahu ta'ala an, paying tribute to Maula Ali, radiyallahu ta'ala an, and Sayyida Faatima Zahra, following the sequence of salam. If you look at the Mustafa Jan Rahmat Pelako Salam, it follows the sequence of salam. And these shares I recited, he wrote in praise and in tribute to Hazrat Sayyidatuna Faatima Zahra and Maula Ali radiallahu an. If we truly understand all of them, we have understood the discussion for today. But I'm going to elaborate a little bit. As I said that tonight I will try to discuss Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala an and Sayyidatuna Faatima Zahra radiallahu an. As Maulana Ahmad Sabir is reminding you every day, he takes a few minutes to remind us all about what we discussed the day before, and he introduces the brief discussion that I'm attempting to present today. And I think this eases the flow of the discussion as well, because those of you that are here, refresh your memories also, and then you understand what is going to be discussed today as well. So, as he said that we've been talking about the battle between Haqq and Batil, truth and falsehood from the very beginning. And we started at the very beginning and came down explaining the different eras and the different zamanas. until we came down to the golden era, the most beautiful zamana, which is the zamana of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we talked about the hardships and the difficulties which the Sahaba Ikram had to face, and all the taklif that Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to face. And this was only and only for the pleasure of Almighty Allah. And in that we spoke about the numerous hardships that numerous Sahaba Ikram faced at that time, and why all this was happening. It was happening because they believed in one Allah. And I explained over, I think, 2 or 3 days intermittently that Islam was not spread by the sword, like the kuffar say. But if it was spread by the sword, and I said that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam lived apparently in the present zindagi 53 years in Makkah Sharif, okay, and 10 years in Madinatul Munawwara. But in the 53 years, in the first 2 years of Madinatul Munawwara, there were no expeditions against the kuffar. There was no battle, there was no army. And all of this was because Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not raise the sword until the command of Allah had come and the ayat of jihad was revealed. And that was for the protection of the deen of Allah and for the sake of the protection of those who were being oppressed by the kuffar, for the haqq of the believers. So we discussed that, and we discussed the wafat sharif of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what happened when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam left this dunya, and how Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was blessed with being the first Khalifa of Islam on the consensus of the Sahaba Ikram ridwanullahi ta'ala al-majma'in. And we spoke about Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq and his services, and Hazrat Umar and his services and his wisal. And I reminded you that Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu made parda in 13 Hijri. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam made wafat sharif on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal 11 Hijri. And Hazrat Sayyidina Abu Bakr 13 Hijri, 2 years and 3 months roughly Khilafat. And then Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu 23 Hijri, 10 years and some months Khilafat. And then Hazrat Uthman Dhun Nurain radiallahu anhu 35 Hijri, approximately 12 years of his Khilafat. Now after Hazrat Osman Ghani radiallahu anhu left this dunya, Hazrat Ali Sher Khuda radiallahu anhu became the Khalifa. Okay. So tonight we will briefly talk about Amir al-Mu'minin Asadullah Haidar Karrar, Hazrat Sayyidina Ali Murtada radiallahu anhu, who is firstly the beloved cousin of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Okay. So he is the son of the uncle of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So firstly, he is the cousin of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Secondly, he is the first amongst the youth to accept Islam. And he didn't ask anyone before he accepted Islam. He accepted Islam just like that. Okay. Thirdly, he is fortunate with having in his nikah Sayyida Faatima Zahra radiallahu anha, the beloved daughter of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most beloved daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he is fortunate of being that personality who is the father of Hasnain Karimain, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. So these are all the barakat and the excellence that is given to Maula Ali. Like, let me tell you, after this even I don't have to say anything more. What more do you need to know about a personality who is the cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He is the son-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the husband of Fatima Zahra radiallahu ta'ala an. He is, Allahu Akbar, he is the blessed personality whose daughter he married, the blessed personality whose daughter he married sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the greatest in Allah's creation. And the one whom he married is one of the queens of Jannat. And the one who are his children are the princes of the youth of Jannat. So what is his maqam? What is the excellence that has been given to this personality? Maula Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And you must always remember, while I'm on this discussion very quickly, or rather let me tell you this first. You know, his mother, the mother of Maula Ali radiallahu anh. The mother of Maula Ali radiallahu anh is Sayyidatuna Fatima binti Asad. Her name was Sayyidina Fatima binti Asad radiallahu ta'ala anha. And she is that blessed woman. She is that Mubarak woman. She is that good. I can hear a little child there saying, can I come every day? Yes, you can come. MashaAllah. Okay. She is that blessed woman, that Mubarak woman, whose janaza was performed by whom? Sarwar-e Kainat, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, by the beloved Nabi, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave his Qamis Mubarak as her kafan. The mother of Sayyidina Ali Murtaza radiallahu anhu. Rasul Pak gave his Qamis Sharif, his Gab, his Libas Sharif as her kafan. And Rasul Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prepared her qabr. And before she was put in her qabr, Rasul Pak himself lay down in her qabr. Think about it. This mother, this woman, what shan she had. Look at the shan of the mother of Maula Ali radiallahu anh. Because in human sense, she cared for Rasul Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when he was young. So Rasul Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was giving this muhabbat back. He laid in her qabr. And the scholars have said that by Rasul Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam laying in her qabr, so that when she is put into the qabr, then she will be given a special garb of Jannatul Firdaus. Because that qabr first Rasul Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam rested in. Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Jalaluddin as-Suyuti radiallahu anh quotes one narration. He said the qabr presses everybody. The qabr presses everybody, sometimes like how the mother hugs. But you know, when the mother hugs you in love sometimes, she hugs so tight you feel your bones are going to break even. And some hug like how some person hugs because of dushmani. So there are two types of hugging. But he says that the qabr presses everybody. Imam Suyuti gives one riwayat. He said except one person, Fatima binti Asad. Because of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam resting inside the qabr. Samajh rahe? Qabr was made wasi already before she went inside the qabr. Okay, so that is the mother of Maula Ali radiallahu anh. Now you must know, if the mother is like this, then the son. What can you say about Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh? And his mother says also that when she was, I'm just giving you a little bit of the life of Hazrat Ali. Actually, I'm going to talk more about Hazrat Ali and Bibi Fatima tomorrow when I talk about the Ahl Bayt. We'll go into more detail there. But for barakat tonight, just to give it a start. That when Maula Ali radiallahu anh was in the womb of his mother says that she used to have these astonishing visions, these dreams. She says, when I was expecting Maula Ali, when I was expecting Ali radiallahu anh, people who are very bright and illuminated would appear in my dream to me. They would come in my dream to me and they used to give me Mubarak Badi. They used to give me glad tidings. And for as long as he was inside my womb, I felt very different. And in those days, people worshipped idols. You must remember that. She said he was in my womb. And it was very different from normal when a pregnancy happens. And she said, whenever I would intend, when everybody would prostrate before the idols at that time, and when I would intend to do that, because that's what people did in those days, before Islam, she said, I will get such a severe pain in my stomach that I could not prostrate in front of the idol. Maula Ali. In the womb of his mother, Buddh Shikan, through the sadaqah of Rasul Pak, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, stopping idol worship from that time. Okay? Maula Ali radiallahu ta'ala. And that is why, you know, this is that same Maula Ali, subhanallah, who is known as Asadullah al-Ghalib, the lion of Allah, the overpowering lion of Allah. Sher-e Khuda we say. Okay? I want to make one point here. For those people who say, and those who try to sow the seeds of doubt in the minds of the Ahl Sunnah, by saying certain things about Hazrat Abu Bakr and other Khulafa, trying to undermine indirectly. Some say directly, and some who claim to be Sunni say it indirectly in their private sessions. Okay? Try to undermine by creating doubts in the minds of the Ahl Sunnah, and especially those who say that Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh was afraid he should have been the righteous Khalifa, the first Khalifa. He was afraid to claim, he was afraid of the followers of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh. We are talking about the majority of the Sahaba. He was afraid in the time of Umar Farooq too. He was afraid in the time of Osman Ghani too. So he just left the situation. Some say he used deception. But he left the situation. He didn't do anything. He just followed suit. Although he knew they were wrong. You know who you're talking about? The one who will stand on the mimbar on every Friday and say, Asadullah. The lion of Allah is afraid. Very simple math. If Hazrat Ali used this, device, Allah forbid, according to those people, he used this device all his life, that even he wanted to be there and he knew he's the rightful Haqqdar, and he just did it because of fear or whatever other reason, why didn't his son do the same thing on the plains of Karbala? Why didn't Imam Hussein do it on the plain of Karbala and just say, let Yazid be? Do you know why? He knew that my father taught him, only give your hand in the hand of those who are in haqq, like Abu Bakr, Umar and Usman. That's why he did it. Okay? That was for you to understand something very important. Because there is this movement that's going on, where the minds of the Ahl Sunnah are being indoctrinated to weave a blanket, in human and simple terms, to weave something with the thread of Sunniyat and Shi'at together. Can't happen. Can't happen. Okay? Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu is that personality, subhanallah, that Rasul Akram Noori Mujassam sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he made hijrat, we know the waqia, I'm going to repeat it for barakat, because we're discussing Hazrat Ali. When Rasul Pak sallallahu made hijrat from Makkah to Medina Sharif, it was in the darkness of night. Huzoor put sand on the heads of the kuffar, they were all waiting outside. Recited the verses, surahs, and then he left. They couldn't even see Huzoor Akram Noori Mujassam sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Okay? But before Rasul Pak made hijrat, what did he do? He told Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, tonight you must sleep in my bed. Tonight you must sleep in my bed. I'm not talking about the beds that we have in this dunya. The bedding of Rasul Pak was from date palms. And numerous narrations show that the imprint would be formed on the back of Rasulullah. We have the most comfortable, but we still got problems. We're not comfortable. Shaitan is playing with our brains. Right? He asked Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu to rest on his Bistar Mubarak. And he said that when morning comes, because the kuffar, although were not prepared to listen to the announcement of Nubuwwat, but they still regard Rasul Pak as the most honest person. But they weren't prepared to listen to that. Okay? So a lot of them used to keep their belongings with Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam for safekeeping. A lot of other people kept. So Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam is as-sadiqul amin. When you give him an amana, he will give it back to you. So when Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam made hijrat, remember, he left Maula Ali in his bed to show the maqam of Ali radiyallahu ta'ala. And he took Abu Bakr Siddiq with him to make hijrat. He was giving you another sign. Abu Bakr goes first, Ali will come afterwards. Okay, simple understanding. Okay? Both are mine. Both are mine. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ali is mine and I am his. Okay, hadith of Tirmizi Sharif. Rasul Pak said, Ali radiallahu anh is mine and I am his. And he is the beloved of the believers. And that's true. Which true believer has any animosity with Maula Ali? It's not possible. Which true believer has animosity with any of the Sahaba of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You can't say Ali and still slander the other Sahaba Ikram. It's not a possibility. It doesn't work that way. Okay? By the way. So Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh is in the best Bistar Mubarak of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh is journeying to Madinatul Munawwara with the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you know when the Nabi and Abu Bakr, I wanted to tell you something the other day. The great Aima Sher have mentioned that when Hazrat Abu Bakr was with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the cave of Thawr, ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار. Okay, إذ يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا. Okay, Quran says. When he was in the cave with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then that time that he spent with Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so powerful and so Mubarak. And that journey of Hijrat that he spent with Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so spiritually powerful over him that when he entered Madinatul Munawwara with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he was going aage, taking the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the people of Medina saw him. They could not differentiate who was Abu Bakr and who was Rasul Pak. Because of the tajalli of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam made him even look in a sense like Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nobody can be like Rasulullah, but that tajalli. Okay? So he took Abu Bakr Siddiq with him and he went. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he left Maula Ali here. Now I said this before some time to you, that if somebody puts you in their bed, you know the enemies is waiting outside, they're waiting to kill that person who's in that bed. And somebody is telling you, you sleep in this bed tonight. Who is going to do it? Who is going to do it? Because if they storm the house, you dead. But Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh states that he slept the best sleep that night. He slept the most comfortable sleep that night. And what was the reason for that? Because Allah's Nabi told him, Ali, in the morning give everything and come meet me in Medina. So Rasul Pak guaranteed his night. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam guaranteed his night that you will meet me in Medina Sharif. You can't do that if you are dead. Okay? So this is, and if we go into detail, we can explain from this numerous fadail of Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So he was blessed with this. At Maqam Sahaba, at a place called Sahaba, when Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu was in the cave with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was resting with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the Maqam Sahaba, and when the time of Asr was going, we know the waqia, how many times we hear it from the time with children, I'm being brief. What was happening there? The sun was setting. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam had prayed his Asr ready. He was resting on the lap of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. What was happening? Sun was going down. Hazrat Ali was looking at the sun. Time is going, I need to read Asr, I need to read Asr, I need to read Asr. But Rasul Pak is making aram. I can't disturb Rasul Pak. Because he knew when a Nabi closes his eyes, only his eyes are closed, his heart is awake. He is receiving revelation from that at that time from the court of Allah. So Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh waited and waited, and the sun went down. And then Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh wept. A few tears fell from his Mubarak eyes because the time of his namaz was gone. And that too, that namaz which is regarded as the protector of all the salahs, Salatul Asr, very important salah of the day. So Hazrat Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he opened his Mubarak eyes, said, Ali, what happened? I'm being very brief because we've heard this many times, but I'm on the discussion of Maula Ali, so we have to say this. He said, oh Ali, what happened? He said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I had not as yet prayed Asr and the sun went down. Sun is set. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't tell him, Ali, go and read Qaza. I'm just like you. We are same. I'm a human just like you. Ali, go and read your Salah again, go and read your Asr, Qaza, what I can do? Ya Rasulullah, sun is gone down. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't say, Ali, I'm like you. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam got up and he went and stood outside. And he pointed his Mubarak finger to the sun that was already set. It was gone. Pointed his finger and he gave by the hukum of Allah. He said, come back. What Allah says, Suraj ulte paun palte. You know, ulte paun palatna means to turn on your heels. Not complete your cause. Come back from where you are. Ulte paun palatna, it means to come back on your heels. Rasul Pak made ishara. Sun came back up. One ishara of Rasul Pak. Suraj ulte, paun palte. Chand ishare se ho chak. Are andhi najdi dekh le kudrat Rasulullah. Look at the power of Allah's Nabi. But Allah's Nabi was bringing the sun back for who? For Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. For Maula Ali radiallahu anhu. This is the maqam of Maula Ali radiallahu anhu. This is the fadilat of Maula Ali radiallahu anhu. That the sun is being brought back for him. And the sun, why? Because he was in the khidmat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the sun come back and Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu makes his salatul asr. And the scholars have said very nicely. They said every day Maula Ali waited, when is the sun going to go down? He worried that the sun should not go. That day the sun was waiting, let Ali finish, then I'm going to go down. Why? Because he came up on the ishara of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this was the fazilat that was given to Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. That is why Ala Hazrat Azimul Barakat radiallahu anhu says, Maula Ali ne wari teri neend par namaz. Maula Ali ne wari teri neend par namaz, aur wo bhi asar sabse jo ala khatar ki hai. He says, Ala Hazrat says, upon your blessed rest, his namaz Maula Ali sacrificed. Upon your blessed rest, his namaz Maula Ali sacrificed. And that too, the namaz asr, which is the most revered, which is the most important namaz for that time, the middle salah, the protector of the salah. So, Hazrat Sayyidina Ali Murtaza radiallahu anhu, this was his devotion. And if you look at all the Sahaba, whether you look at Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Osman, or Hazrat Ali, the four Khalifa, I'm talking about for now. All of them's devotion is unique. It's not something that you compare. It is something that you accept. That there is a huge, beautiful palace. And the four pillars of those palaces, Abu Bakr, Umar, Osman and Ali. You can't do without any one of them. You can't do without any one of them. These are those blessed companions of Rasul Pak, Sahib al-Awlaq sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And this is that Ali radiallahu anhu. Allah had given him so much of taqat. Allah had given him so much of strength and so much of good fortune in the court of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We know during the battle of Khaybar, very well known. During the battle of Khaybar, it was a very difficult time for the Muslim army at that time. And on the day of the Khaybar, the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, tomorrow I'll give the flag of Islam in the hand of that person through whom Allah will give us victory. Okay? Through whose hand Allah shall grant us victory. That person loves Allah and he loves Allah's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now think about it. Every Sahabi, they loved Allah and loves Allah's Rasul. Nobody doesn't. But Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he loves Allah and he loves Allah's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was to show the maqam of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. The devotion of Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala. Okay? So, and Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he loves Allah and Allah's Rasul, and Allah and Allah's Rasul loves him. They love him. Who? Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu as well. So when the morning came, Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now every Sahaba is wishing, I get the flag for that day's battle. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, where's Maula Ali? Where is Ali? They said, Ya Rasulullah, he has an infected eye. What he has? An infected eye. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, okay, let him rest. Did he say that? No. He said, no, Ali got infected eye, don't call him. Did he say that? No. He said, call Ali. Don't worry about the infected eye, call him. He came. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam took his saliva and put it in his eyes. Took his saliva and his lu'ab dahan, his Mubarak saliva, and put it in his eyes. Dr. Sharafat is my optician, mashallah. Sharafat, when any patient comes to you with eye problem, you ever tried to put your saliva in somebody's eye? Okay? The patient will probably beat you up. I've come with an infection, you're making my infection worse? You're causing me more taklif? But when Rasul Pak took his lu'ab dahan and put in the eye of Maula Ali, he didn't complain, because he knew in everybody else's saliva there is bacteria, there is bimari. But in the saliva Mubarak of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the shifa for that bacteria. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu's eyes were very severely infected. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam put his lu'ab dahan in the eye of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. He started to see as if he never had an infection, not after 5 minutes, immediately. Immediately. And Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the flag in the hand of Hazrat Ali, and Khaybar was conquered. Khaybar was conquered. And you know, when the door of Khaybar, Hazrat Ali dropped down, afterwards, some riwayat say 40 people had to pick it up. He dropped it down himself and used it as a shield. Which 40 people had to pick it up after that. Sher-e Khuda. And he was frightened for people, they say. He was frightened to say what he wanted to say. Does it make sense? Any logic in it? Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala an had been given this taqat. Now think about a person with so much of strength and all of that. How would he be? Like how I said about Hazrat Umar Farooq. How would you expect him to be? Gallant person. So was he arrogant? Madallah, was he like this? No, absolutely not. Soft, kind-hearted person. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala an. And he was so kind that he never turned anyone away from his door. Never ever. And this is the shan of the Ahlul Bayt of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Hazrat Abu Dharr Ghifari radiallahu an says that Hazrat Ali was very exalted, he was very brave, he was very truthful and very soft-hearted. He was exalted, he was brave, he was courageous, but he was also a very truthful person, but very soft-hearted and kind. His desire to help the poor, Hazrat Abu Dharr Ghifari radiallahu anh says, his desire to help the poor flowed in him like the huge waves of the ocean. His shock to help logo ki madad kar, garibo ki madad. It flowed in him like this, to the effect and to the extent that he used to travel for distances away from home. Dur safar karte the. He used to travel from distances away from home. You know for what? To go and assist the people who are sick. To help those who are old and poor. To help the orphan, the crippled, the downtrodden. That's what he went to. Hazrat Abu Dharr Ghifari radiallahu anh is telling us. This is Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh. And he is that personality, and you must know there's numerous riwayats about his kindness and his generosity. But he had such attachment in the court of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he is, just if we discuss him for now, the next few days are not going to be enough. So I'm going to continue this discussion when I'm talking about the Ahlul Bayt tomorrow, inshallah al-Azim. But the important things, we'll look at the life of Hazrat Ali, his bravery, his courage, his love for Allah and his Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his ibadat, his shock for deen. And then all of this, you listen to the wise words that he spoke from his zuban. He was a very wise person. When he was given the hukum of being the qazi, at that time, Yemen, he said, I'm a young man, how am I going to go? Rasul Pak struck him on his chest. From that day till the end of his life, Ali radiallahu anh never made any mistake in any judgment. One time struck by the Mubarak hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? So he was blessed with this wisdom. And he said things that if you ponder upon them, it will make a change in your entire life. I'm going to share some of the things that he said. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh said, to be disillusioned from the mercy of Allah is a means of massive destruction. Don't lose hope, no matter what happens. Don't lose hope from the mercy of Allah. Always have hope in the mercy of Allah. Do you know why? Because Allah blesses you based on your hope in His court. Always remember that. The more you expect from Allah, Allah will give you. Keep your yaqeen mazboot. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh said that do not be disillusioned. Because to be disillusioned of Allah's mercy is a means of huge destruction in your life. He said, he who is most miserly in giving his wealth, listen, he who is most miserly in giving his wealth, today conjuicy is common. People are afraid to share their wealth, for the good things also. He said, he who is most miserly in giving his wealth is always most generous and willing in betraying his own honor. अपनी इज्जत दे देगा, दौलत नहीं देगा. It's a sign of a fool. Okay? Think about these words of Hazrat Ali. They're short words, but they're very blessed. He said, perfection in religion, perfection in deen, is by taking loss in materialistic things. Rather lose your materialistic thing, but don't lose your deen. Hold your deen. He said, ilm is better than wealth. Knowledge is better than wealth. Since your knowledge protects you. What he said, knowledge is better than wealth. Because your knowledge, by Allah's grace, protects you. And you need to protect your wealth. So your knowledge is better than your wealth. Okay? And he said the friendship of worldly people, people who like the dunya, materialistic people, usually is broken through small things. You know, if your friendship with somebody is because of worldly things, minor thing will make you all fight with each other. Stupid thing. But if your friendship and association is for Allah and His Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you'll weather the most difficult storms. But you won't split from that person. Because you say, I love them for the sake of Allah and His Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Not for the sake of their money. Not for the sake of their power. Not for the sake of other things. People who speak about love should learn the thing, the meaning of love. That when you love for the sake of Allah and His Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, not for materialist things. And he said, one very nice, I love this statement. It's a very short statement, but it's beautiful. He says, sabr is such a mode of transport. Sabr is such a sawari. It is such a mode of transport that never fails you. Your car will fail you, your horse will fail you, your camel. But your sabr won't fail you. If you make sabr, it will take you towards Jannatul Firdaus. You must read between the lines. Okay? And he says that truth is a very powerful supporter. If you always say what is haqq, it's a very powerful helper. And he said a lie is a very weak defense. Allahu Akbar. What a beautiful statement. Subhanallah. We can go on talking about these words of Hazrat Ali. That truth is a very strong supporter, meaning defender. And lie is a very weak defense. And yet today people, to defend themselves, they'll tell thousands of lies. But yet Hazrat Ali is telling us it's a very weak defense. And Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh said, very important, very, very important, do not trust the kindness of an enemy. Do not trust the kindness of an enemy, since no matter how hot you may make water with fire, the water can still extinguish the fire. Understand? Do not trust the kindness of an enemy, because no matter how much you heat water with fire, the water can still extinguish that fire. Think about it, very important thing. And he said, and this is for us, those who claim to be ulama, we are the dogs and the slaves of that court, of the true ulama. But he said, a pious alim remains humble. A pious alim remains humble, and when he starts to pride his knowledge, then he becomes a bad person. He no more has that level because of his takabbur. And he said, there is no way of saving a person who does not conceal his own secrets in his chest. The person who does not keep his own secrets in his chest, he wants the world to know, I do haram, I do this, I do that. You can't save him. That person who says things to take people away from deen and join them with the Razvis, you can't save him. Because that's the secrets of his chest he's telling you. He can't keep it inside anymore. And he said something, and two more things that he said, and I'm ending with those. He said, when you are in poverty, when you are in taklif, when you are in financial difficulty, then ask Allah to forgive you. That is the time to ask for forgiveness. When you are in difficulty, ask Allah to forgive you and read the kalma. And Allah will increase your barakat in your sustenance. Allah will give you barakat in your rizq. And he said something, this is the 12th statement for today that I'm giving of Hazrat Ali. He says, radiallahu ta'ala, to stay away from guna is better than gathering good. Understanding? To stay away from wrongdoings is better than gathering good. It's better that you stay away from guna. Protect yourself from guna, rather than gathering good and still doing so much of guna. He says, first try to stop yourself from doing guna, the good will come on its own. So this is Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala an. And again, lengthy discussions that we can talk about Hazrat Ali. And as I said, Hazrat Ali is that personality who married Sayyida Faatima Zahra, the beloved daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the mother of Hasnain Karimain. And this is that Faatima Zahra radiallahu ta'ala an, regarding whom Hazrat Sayyidina Imam Shaykh Hafiz Abu Nu'aym radiallahu an, he says, Hazrat Sayyidatuna Faatima Zahra is regarded amongst the most pious and sincere worshippers amongst the women. This is for our sisters that are listening, and mothers and daughters. that he says Hazrat Sayyidatuna Faatima Zahra is regarded as amongst the most pious and sincere worshippers. She was such an abida amongst the women. And who is she? He says, you must remember she is the most beloved daughter of Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam left this dunya, made wafat in the physical apparent sense, Hazrat Fatima Zahra radiallahu anha lived for a very short while in this dunya. And while she was in the dunya, she had no care for the pomp and the splendor of this world. She was not interested in the wealth of this dunya. She was not interested in all these things. She was preparing herself because the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told her before that Fatima, after I leave the dunya, the first person to meet me will be you. I'll discuss this in detail tomorrow, inshallah. And to stay away from the splendors, what she did, she lived in the dunya, but she stayed away from the splendors. We have a very big battle to do this, right? She lived in the dunya, yet she divorced herself from the dunya. And this is why, and you know, this is the real meaning of tasawwuf. The Allama of tasawwuf, the great scholars of tasawwuf have said, tasawwuf means to remain steadfast on your promises and to be absorbed in preparing for the benefits of the akhirah. This is called tasawwuf, in reality. How many of us are able to do this? She is that personality, Fatima Zahra, radiallahu anha, that Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved her so much. Allahu Akbar. Immense love. Hazrat Sayyidatuna Aisha Siddiqa, radiallahu anha, states that during the final physical apparent illness of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the blessed wives, the Azwaj Mutahharat of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam were present. And Hazrat Fatima Zahra radiallahu anha entered. And she entered walking exactly how Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to walk. She copied everything about Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is said that when the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to go to visit her, Hazrat Fatima Zahra used to wake up and she used to kiss the hand of Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam and take him and make him sit in her place. And when she used to come to visit Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to do the same with her. Look at how much love he had for her. Look at how much love for her. So Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa says that in those days when Rasul Pak was in the physical state of apparent illness, Hazrat Fatima Zahra came to visit Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you must know, as I told you, everybody used to visit at the house of Hazrat Aisha, because Rasul Pak said towards the end that I want to remain in the house of Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha, if everybody permits, and all permitted. So she used to come, but she used to walk in. She came in. He says she entered. Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa says she entered walking like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and said when our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even in that illness, when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw her, he said, "Welcome, my daughter. Welcome, my daughter." His love for Hazrat Fatima Zahra. Then he said, Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam got her to sit next to him, and he said something. He whispered something in Hazrat Fatima's ear. He whispered something, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in her ear, and she started to cry. Hazrat Fatima Zahra began to weep. Hazrat Aisha said, I said to her, Nabi has chosen you to share, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has chosen you to share his secret with him. In the presence of all the Azwaj Mutahharat. And even though I too was present, we are even here, but you are crying. Why? Rasul Pak is sharing with you. You know, they were giving her tasalli in that illness. Then again, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam whispered something in her ear again. And she began to smile. First she was weeping. I'm being brief about it, lengthy discussions. And then she began to smile. So Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha said, I give you the qasam by whatever my right is over you. I give you the qasam by whatever my haqq is over you. Or whatever right I have over you, whatever the words were, that you should share the secret with me. Hazrat Fatima Zahra radiallahu anha said, for now I will not unveil the secret of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Hazrat Aisha says, after Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam left the dunya, in the physical sense, I asked her about this again. I asked Fatima Zahra. That will show you what a beautiful relationship they had. For those who try to say otherwise. What a nice relationship this was. Okay? When you speak about them, look for the things which you can explain in a beautiful way. If there were any differences between the Sahaba Ikram, it is not our duty or not our haqq to even discuss it. We have no right to discuss any discrepancies, any differences. We must only understand that they are the beloveds of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Finished. No need to go anymore. Yes, when we do discuss it, we discuss it to refute those who are discussing this to sow seeds of fitna in the people. Okay? So, again, she asked. As Aisha said, come on, tell me. So, she said, Sayyida Faatima said, yeah, now I'm going to tell you. She said, yes, now I shall tell you. The reason I wept that day when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam whispered to me something was Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to me, Hazrat Jibreel recites the Quran to me only once every year. You know, every year in Ramadan, Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to recite one Quran to Jibreel, Jibreel used to recite one Quran to Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is a lesson for Huffaz. That Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't need to remember, he knows everything. Jibreel doesn't, but the door of the Quran, the barakat of the recitation of the Quran. So Hazrat Sayyidina Jibreel, she said to Aisha Siddiqa, Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, Rasul Pak said, every year he recites to me, we recite once the Holy Quran. But this year he recited twice. So, O Fatima, I feel that my time to journey from this dunya has come. On hearing this, I started crying. How will any daughter feel when the father says, now it's time for me to go? And this is not just a father, this is Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saying this. And the person that is listening is Aisha, Sayyida Faatima Zahra. Allahu Akbar. So Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told her this and she said, I started to weep. She says, when I started to weep, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, remember, continue to fear Allah. This is his advice to his beloved daughter at that time. He said, Allah se khauf kare. Continue to fear. Not that she didn't fear. Allahu Akbar. Amongst the women, who could have feared like Fatima Zahra radiallahu, whose entire nights were in the sajda in the court of Almighty Allah. But Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that continue to fear Allah and make sabr. Remain patient. My leaving this dunya before you is better for you. My journey from this dunya before you is better for you. And then Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, O Fatima, are you not pleased with this, that you are the queen of the women of the world? Or he said that you are the queen of the women of this ummah? Sayyida Fatima radiallahu anha says, on saying and hearing this, I began to smile. And one riwayat says, Rasul Pak told her that you will be the first to come and meet with me in the akhirah. She began to smile. So this is the shan of Hazrat Fatima Zahra. And this is that Fatima Zahra that Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. The report is from Hazrat Miswar radiallahu anhu. He says that Rasul Akram Noori Mujassam Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Fatima is part of me. She is my so beloved, she is part of me. He said, whosoever causes her distress, has caused me distress. And whoever hurts her has hurt me. Hadith of Muslim Sharif. So nobody would intentionally ever hurt Hazrat Fatima Zahra radiallahu ta'ala, and because they know what Rasul Pak said. And the believers always remember this and they will not cause any of this. That's why Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Fatima, okay, and in the discussion of the Sahaba, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal has quoted this narration, that Hazrat Fatima Zahra radiallahu anha, Rasul Pak said to her, you will be first to meet me from my family after I pass from this dunya. So this is the ilm ghaib of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it happened exactly as Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Once, I'll tell you something about it very quickly. I'm going to take 2 or 3 minutes more of your time today. Once, Hazrat Anas radiallahu anhu says that once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked to the Sahaba Ikram, he said, in what is the most goodness for a female? The most virtue, what is there for a female? What is the best virtue for a female? So the Sahaba Ikram said, we didn't know what to really reply. There's so many things. So Rasul Pak is asking, what are you going to reply? So they said, in that course of time, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu quickly went to Hazrat Fatima. He went to Hazrat Fatima Zahra radiallahu anha and told her, this is what Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is asking. What's the answer? He went to Hazrat Fatima. And she said, why did you not say to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that the most goodness for woman is in her not looking at the ghair mahram. The most goodness for a woman is in her not looking at ghair mahram, strange men, and in ghair mahram not looking at her. Why didn't you say it? Now, what an important lesson we're learning from this. From this one word of Bibi Faatima Zahra radiallahu ta'ala anha. You know, and then he went into the court of Rasul Pak. After he took this from Hazrat Bibi Fatima, he went into the court of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he told this. So when he said this, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who mentioned this to you? Subhanallah. He went and said, Rasul Pak didn't have to ask him who told you. Huzoor already knew that this is not Ali's answer. This is Fatima's answer. Rasul Pak already knew. He said, who mentioned this to you? He said, Fatima. Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Fatima. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Fatima is my beloved. Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Fatima is my beloved. Now, numerous other discussions on Hazrat Sayyida Faatima Zahra and the trials and the tests that Hazrat Faatima Zahra radiallahu anha, went through. And Hazrat Aisha says about her, about Hazrat Fatima. Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha says, after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, leave Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have never found anyone to be more honest than Fatima Zahra. Aisha Siddiqa is telling you about her. What is her shan? Subhanallah. Now, time is not permitting, otherwise there's a lot more to talk about her, but we'll do that tomorrow. Inshallah Azim, tomorrow I want to talk about the Ahl Bayt. The fazilat of the Ahl Bayt in the Hadith Sharif. Quran's hukum. The fadilat in the Hadith Sharif. And I will bring in, again, Hazrat Ali a little bit there, and also Sayyida Fatima. And then briefly I will discuss Hasnain Karimain. And then inshallah Azim, the last 2 days we'll talk about the Shahadat. And what happened and why it happened, and you've heard this for many years, and thus I'm not going into the chronology so much on that part of it. And I'm doing all this so that when we come there, you'll understand and realize what great sacrifice was made and for what that sacrifice was made. So may Allah give us the tawfiq to understand. Those who are ill in the community, Allah grant them shifai kamil, sehat ajil. Those that have passed away in Ahlul Sunnah, Allah grant them an exalted place in Jannatul Naeem. Those that are going through any dunyawi or spiritual or any other taklif, may Allah remove that taklif. May Allah give us sukoon in our hearts. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open His doors of mercy unto all of us. And may we always honor Maula Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Because if you don't honor Maula Ali, you don't honor Abu Bakr Siddiq. You don't honor Umar Farooq. You don't honor Osman Ghani. And let us always remember to honor Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Hazrat Umar and Hazrat Osman. And every Sahabi. Because if we don't honor them, we are not honoring Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala. It goes together. Why? They are all one. They are the Sahaba of the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Allah keep us with Iman. Let us leave this world with Iman. I apologize for taking about 6 or 7 minutes more of your time. Allah give you barakat in your time. Jazakallah to all of you that are coming every night. Those that are listening online, and especially our children that are frequenting every night. I don't think they understand everything that I'm probably saying. But, that is the beauty of something, that when you sit under the rain, whether you understand or not, it's going to wet you. So when you sit under the mercy, because wherever the remembrance of Hasnain Karimain takes place, and the Sahaba and the Ahl Bayt, and more so the beloved Rasul, there the rahmat is descending. So the mercy will definitely drop upon them. Why? Because they are even children, but they are sitting here with other